Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of The Go Show. I am your host, Froosh. Today is Wednesday, August 14th, 2013. So, the reason that we're doing an episode today is for the update. The update that was released today was called the Arms Deal Update. What it brought about was quite a few things, but some really interesting things that the Counter-Strike scene has never really seen before. Essentially, the biggest part of this update was the skinned weapons. Valve created and released a bunch of different skin collections for all of the weapons in the game. I'm kind of scrolling through all of them right now. There's two different ways that you can get the skinned weapons. Individual weapons will drop the more that you play. So if you're playing and a round ends in a casual server or something like that, you'll get a notification that this specific weapon has been dropped, and you'll have that in your inventory. You can see that up here at the top. And you can add that gun and play with it on matchmaking servers, whether they be casual or competitive. The other way that you can get the weapons is you buy a case key. So for $2.49 right now, you can buy two different types of cases. You can buy a CSGO case key and a esports 2013 key. As you play, it's the same type of drop scenario. As you play, you'll get a case dropped to you. And if it's an esports case and you have an esports key, you can unlock that case and you'll get, I assume, a full collection of guns that they have created. They've separated these into different types of collections. So like this is the Inferno collection, this is the Vertigo collection. They separated them. So I assume that when you unlock a full case, it will give you all of the weapons with that same themed skin. In addition to that, they also dropped two weapons that everyone gets right off the bat when you get the update. So you have the M4A1 with a silencer, and you have the USP with a silencer. So what happens is when you go into your inventory, you have a couple of different options here. You can inspect it, which just shows you a little video looking at the weapon. And then you can replace it with the current gun that is the equivalent of it. So for example, the M4A1 with a silencer can replace the M4A4, which is the default M4 gun in Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The USP can replace the P2K pistol. So if we go ahead and take a look at the loadout thing that they have here, this is similar to what I've seen with like COD. I've never really played COD, but if you take a look at it, this is similar to how you can load up the weapons that you want to have in your inventory when you actually play. So let's say, for example, right now I have my M4A4, which is the default in the game, and I want to have my M4A1 with a silencer. I just hit CT replace, and then it's the default weapon now. So when I go to actually play a game, that will be the default weapon that I have when I am a counter-terrorist and I buy a rifle in that slot. So we know that I already have my USP and my M4A1 with a silencer in my loadout, in my inventory, ready to go, ready to play with. They're replaced with the guns that were there previously. One thing before we get into those guns is they added a new command which allows you to look at the weapon that you currently are holding. I think it's plus look at weapon. So if you want to bind that, you can go ahead and do that. I think it's bound by default to the letter F. I have that to drop a weapon, so that's not what I'm using. So it just allows you to look at it. So if we go to our USP with a silencer, we can take a look at that real quickly. This is not like a taunt in TF2 where you can't interrupt it. If you are looking at your weapon, you can immediately start shooting at any time during that process. So it's nice that it doesn't interrupt you or keep you from doing anything. You can look at it at any time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the M4A1 with a silencer. The amount of time that it takes to take off the silencer or add the silencer is a pretty good amount of time. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick here. And the M4. Let's go ahead and take a look at how these weapons sound when they have the silencers on and off. one new addition to the game is the magazines in your gun when you reload will drop to the ground. You can also shoot them as well for some reason. Let's go ahead and see what they sound like when we have the silencers off. So there's a weird bug right now where if you put on the silencer or you take off the silencer, it drops your magazine. One thing to note is that the M4A1 only has 20 bullets in each magazine. So we're going to go ahead and jump over to the terrorist side here. One new addition to the game, which is kind of interesting, is that it forces you to crouch when you're planting the bomb. Now, I know that some people were talking about how players were kind of exploiting and abusing the fact that you can crouch up and down while you're planting, creating issues with the hitboxes. I assume that they did this auto crouch to prevent that from happening. You can't jump, you can't stand up, you can't do anything while you're planting the bomb. It just forces you to kind of crouch. One of the biggest additions to matchmaking was they added servers in Brazil. Now, if you're in North America, you know the pain that it is to play against 5 other people that have 200 ping. This was a really big complaint in the community. I'm really glad that they added these servers. I think it's a huge deal to the people in North America, and I'm really glad that they made that addition. So we're actually going to jump to our panel here. We have Solitude from the Go Show, and we have Code from r / Global Offensive, who is very active in the Global Offensive subreddit. So we're going to go ahead and jump to them and see what they think about the update. What's going on, guys?
How's it going?
Code?
How's it going? Hey, how's it going? Doing great.
Good. So I guess we're just going to start off with, what do you guys think about the update? Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you think it's going in the right direction, the wrong direction? Does it not affect you at all? Do you not care? What are your thoughts, Solitude?
I mean, as far as going the right direction, I feel the consistency of the Valve updates, it's really whatever they push out, it's the right direction for me right now because it just shows they still care about the game. I mean, as far as all this aesthetic gun skins and things like that, it doesn't really affect me personally because I'm still looking for some more competitive changes as far as mechanics go and some things like that. So I was kind of upset I didn't see any of that in this week's update, but I do have hope that there will be some of those updates in the future.
Code, what do you think, man?
I mean, I personally feel that the update was well thought out and executed. I mean, I hadn't really had time to dig down into the files themselves and see what values have been replaced or tweaked. But I mean, as y'all know, we'll probably see people on Reddit. They're going to start posting more specific information like they've already done. I mean, Valve's doing a great thing. They're listening to people in the community. They're doing stuff that they want. We've got matchmaking servers in Brazil. I mean, that's been a rally cry for months, you know. So I mean, they're moving in the right direction, I think. So I'm excited about it.
I have to agree with it. Like, every time that we go through a week or a couple of weeks where we don't see an update, everyone sits around and speculates for a really long time, and we talk about like all these crazy things that we think are about to happen, and we get really excited, and that's great, but it seems like slow and steady progress, and I think that's what they're kind of latching onto right now. I think they're ignoring the negativity, and I think they're just going forward with just kind of these, you know, positive thoughts like we're going to slowly build this game into something that's great. I think that this update is really, really important to the casual scene. I think that a lot of people called for being able to allow skins on the guns and stuff like that, and the silencers have been complained about since day one. But I think it's important to the entire scene that we build like a lower level of players, like the entry level, I guess is what I'm looking for. I think the entry level is really important because once you have a really large entry level, those are the people that you can get hooked on the competitive side of it. And that is what's going to make this game stick around for a really long time. That's important to longevity. So Code, what do you think is going to be the next major update, or what do you hope is going to be the next major update?
I mean, right now, I don't know how much playtesting y'all have done with the latest update, but the M4A1S and the USP are a little OP right now. I mean, they're uber quiet. I mean, I've already one versed four on some terrorists who planted on train. I was right beside two guys, killed them both. They never knew I was there. So, I mean, a few things I'd like to see happen is maybe the bomb timer for all CSGO, just like in LAN events, needs to be 35 seconds from 45. You're going to lose that stealth advantage that the CTs have. They're going to have to rotate quicker. They're going to have to try and get in there with enough time to defuse the bomb, or they're going to have to try and get exit kills. Obviously, that makes it a little more T-sided on a map if you've got to rotate so fast. So I think that the bomb blast radius, or the strength, the damage of the bomb blast, needs to be increased as well. That way, as a terrorist, you either stay in sight, or you get out and you possibly get picked off by a C2 who's waiting for you. So, I mean, I think those things right there would maybe equalize the new silenced weapons.
Interesting. Dustin, what do you
Good
got?
thoughts. Let's see. I mean, I've played around with the silence guns a little bit. The 20-round clip for me on the M4A1s, it's a rough sell to make me switch from the current M4A4, just because I guess the way I play the game too, I tend to probably spray a little bit more than I need to. So those 10 bullets can be really crucial when I'm facing like a 4 or 5 man rush. USP, I guess. Like I've heard you say before too, over the past few months, just playing with the P2K a lot, I've kind of fallen in love with that pistol. So I'm always a big supporter behind it. So I can't see myself switching over to the new USP. But what I hope to see in this next major update, as I know a lot of people still talk about, and a lot of the pros still want to see, is some movement changes in the game. I mean, some things with aim punch, I feel, could really tweak the pistol balance and make the Glock not seem as overpowered as it is on those early rounds as terrorists. The P90, again, is another gun that just abuses the aim punch system. But yeah, it's acceleration values as far as shoulder peeking corners is another thing that I feel needs to be just nerfed a little bit, just to kind of make this game feel a little bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say more like the previous builds, but just raise that skill ceiling. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised again if how successful all this gun skin stuff goes to see a free-to-play dropped in one of the next big updates as well. So, which is good, because we need that player base to expand, as you said, to make this game grow and get bigger stream viewers, and more stream viewers means more people, more companies looking into sponsoring and advertising for the game as well. So hopefully we'll see CS:GO and some more tournaments coming up.
Absolutely. So I think my biggest complaint is matchmaking, I guess. I think that's the thing that I play the most, because it has the most players on it. Like, I don't pay for ESEA because I don't get to play enough. But when I do play, I want to play right away. And matchmaking is the only thing that can offer me that right now. So that's what I want to see improvements to. I want to see an Operation Payback 2 for matchmaking. So you pay however much for the next 6 months or a year or whatever, and you get really solid matchmaking with really good maps and really good servers. Not just 128 tick, I'm talking like good servers, because there are 128 tick servers that suck, and we know that from experience. Yep. So that's my hope, is like an Operation Payback 2. It would be nice to see movement changes as well, but you know, I'm all for the matchmaking improvement, and you know, that's my hope. So we're gonna move on to the last question. Dustin, were you expecting to see anything in this update that you didn't see, or were you kind of surprised that something wasn't in there?
I mean, obviously, with all the speculation coming down to this afternoon's update, that became kind of clear, everything that we would be seeing. I was surprised by the addition of Brazilian matchmaking servers, even though it says adding, so I don't know if that means it'll be in like a day or two or a week, or if they're already actually active now. But I mean, I did expect, I guess, to see some sort of mechanic changes, even minor tweaks to some guns or anything like that. I was a little surprised that it was all just this gun arena, or whatever they're calling it, patch. But all in all, I'm happy with the update because I think it's good for the community, and that's what we're all here for. So,
Code, what do you think, man?
I mean, I kind of agree with everything that he said. I mean, that's all the same things everybody's looking for. I mean, I could have took the stance of, if I'm not expecting anything, I'm not really going to be disappointed with it. But I mean, I did, if I had to pick some other stuff in addition to what has already been mentioned, I figured the new cache at least was going to be thrown in there. I would have liked to have seen a surprise map like a mill or season, or maybe even the Tuscan that's being worked on if it had been finished up and thrown in. That would have been really nice. So, and I mean, kind of like was already mentioned, another operation patch. I figured for sure we were going to get a teaser of saying, 128 tick is coming,
yeah.
SE maps are coming, something a little more like actual league play is coming. But I mean, that's to be seen. I mean, they've got the cases out there, the sport cases. They're already trying to generate money. People are buying keys. Stuff's going on the market. So, I mean, we just got to see what happens from here.
I agree. I think it's coming.
Yeah.
I think it's coming soon, within the month. That's my guess. More speculation is what we need, right?
Yeah, well, they can't keep pushing back the current Operation Payback, so they got to switch it over at some point.
That's true. Well, I think this takes the place of it, though. Like, that's my guess, is that instead of doing a payback, that this is like their new microtransaction type deal until, I don't know.
Yeah.
Payback was too big of a success for them not to do it again. I mean, it'd
totally
be dumb.
agree. Yeah.
Even if Valve didn't give 100% of the proceeds, I'm not sure all the specs on how they did Operation Payback, but even if it wasn't 100% payout, I mean, that's still change that Valve got for nothing, basically.
Yep.
Just for setting aside a few servers and running maps on it, which they already do.
Yeah. Awesome. So, Code, what did you get dropped?
I've gotten the Og with wings. That was actually in a case, and then we're playing on a private VAC secured server, doing a 10-man since matchmaking was sitting there with half-hour long waits, and I actually got dropped in a radiated sawed-off shotgun, part of the nuke collection.
Wow.
So it's
Nice.
pretty neat. People on servers said they couldn't see it, but when I dropped it and they picked it up, they could see the skin on it. So I think if you pick up a dropped weapon with a skin, in addition to seeing who had that weapon, I believe you can actually get that skin at that point. I'm not 100% sure, though.
Interesting.
You might see it. I don't know if it gets added to your inventory or not, but
So that's pretty much going to do it. I just want to thank you guys for taking a few minutes to talk to me about the update and sharing your opinions and your respected thoughts.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it.
Well, that's going to do it for our update episode. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Don't forget to check out our website, thegoshow.tv. And for the love of all that is good, please, please stay classy.